Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I'm super excited today because we have a really amazing guest. Her name is Lorena, and she's from Mom Life Insurance and Health Agency. That's MALM. So welcome to the show, Lorena. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day today. I'm so excited to have you on. I'm sure we're going to have some great conversations. I'd love if you could just take a few minutes and share with the audience how you got to where you are, why you're doing what you're doing. I know you've got a really powerful story that they're dying to hear.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to sharing some information here with your audience. I've been in the life and health insurance industry for about 16 years now, and I've been working together with my mom that time as well. So I guess the way I started was I was studying finance at school, and one summer my mom needed help with like appointment setting. So I had experience working on the phones before. So I said, sure, I can call on some people and set appointments for you. One day I just decided to go with her and see more in detail what she did. Of course, I always knew what my mom did, right? But it's not the same as going and seeing it in person, right? So I said, oh, this is easy. You just talk to people and you fill out paperwork and you help them out. I thought that it would be a good thing to do while going to school because I could manage my own time. And so after that, I just decided to continue doing it because I really enjoyed the aspect of helping people with protecting their finances for the future, like with using life insurance. And then later on with health insurance, we started doing that more with the Affordable Care Act. And so that was really an impactful way of helping even more people with their day-to-day things of health. So I guess a lot of what we used to do was face-to-face, like visiting people or going to their place of business for like business owners. And we transitioned to doing everything virtually over the phone. And so I think that's helped us expand our business even more.
Very cool. And was that during COVID that you did that?
No, I joke around that we were ready for COVID because we did that in 2016.
Amazing. So you were ahead of the curve.
Yeah, for sure. We didn't have to scramble how to do things now.
So you got into this business with your mom. What are some of the challenges you've had there? Because I know working with family sometimes can be a little thing, I guess.
Yeah, that all depends, right? If you already get along with the family member, then it might be easier than if you already have conflict. I've been lucky that my mom and I have always gotten along pretty well. And so I think one of the important things is definitely setting boundaries as to she's my mom, but she's not my boss or anything like that. So when I say we work together, that's really what that means is that we work together coming up with marketing ideas and things like that, but she has her clients, I have mine. And it's always good to have someone that's in the industry because that way you can, hey, is what I'm thinking, is that right? Or what do you think how we should go about this? But as far as like setting boundaries, we don't talk about work outside of business hours and things like that because then if not, you would talk all the time about that. So I think it's important to separate that.
Yeah, for sure. Work can definitely take over your whole life, especially when you're around the people that you work with. I remember I worked in restaurants for a long time and we would leave work and then go to a bar and then talk about work for 2 hours. Now, I know you said you do life and health insurance. Who exactly do you help?
I help individuals, families, and business owners. I help them with their life insurance and health insurance, as those can be topics that a lot of times people put off until something happens, whether that be that something happens to somebody they know, then they're like, oh, maybe I should think about getting life insurance. So a lot of what I do is educational so that they understand the need of what they're getting and why they should get it. And especially with like business owners, we deal a lot with like a partnership, let's say. Maybe they need to fund a buy-sell agreement, which is basically if something happens to one of the partners, how does that business continue? Because sometimes you don't want like the spouse of your former business partner to come and take over because they have no idea about anything of that business, right? That's really something that business owners don't think about is, well, if something happens to me, how's this business going to continue, right? So that's an interesting way of doing that with like life insurance, for example. But also with like health insurance, we help people understand why the importance of health insurance and why they need to have that in place, especially with the individual market with the Affordable Care Act.
We talk a lot on this podcast about finances, and I was wondering if you could tell the audience how life insurance and health insurance can play into their financial plan.
Oh, sure. A lot of times people think of life insurance like, oh, if I die, right? Because that's like the traditional way of thinking about it. But really, life insurance has evolved to not only pay if somebody passes away, but also in case of something like a critical illness like cancer, heart attack, stroke, or a chronic illness where you can't do activities of daily living. And so this is really important when we're talking about financial protection and planning for the future, because nowadays with the advancement of technology, medical advances, people might get diagnosed with something like cancer or a heart attack, and that's not necessarily a death sentence, right? But how are people going to continue paying their bills, paying their employees? A lot of times it's not just the person diagnosed that has to worry about the illness, but also maybe family members might also need to take time off work. And like I say, money is always necessary, and you don't want to be going through something like that and worried about your finances. So this is an affordable way of taking care of that for yourself, right? And so that's one way with life insurance. There's also other things like building for the future to supplement retirement, because especially if you're self-employed, you might not be thinking about a 401k, things like that, right? Because you work for yourself. So a lot of people use life insurance as a way of doing that because it builds cash value that they can use later on in life, right? It's what sometimes you might see on TikTok. People call it like infinite banking, right? Like always, it's something that you need to know what you're doing and why you're doing and making sure that it's a good fit for you, not just saying, oh, I heard about that on TikTok, right? But really work with a professional that this is what they do, like I say. And so the same thing with health insurance. Sometimes we're young and healthy and we're like, oh, I don't need that. Everybody might get food poisoning or something, and then you don't want to be paying that $10,000 bill out of your own pocket, right? Which is why you have health insurance to transfer that risk to the health insurance company. And I know the most I'll pay is 5,000 because that's my out of pocket.
Now, what is your biggest financial challenge in your business right now?
Okay. I would say as far as growing my business, like I work here in Miami, which is very competitive with what we do. It seems like everybody knows somebody, right? So I think one thing that has helped is expand my business to work in other states. Like I'm licensed here in Florida where I am, but also Texas and Nebraska. So that's helped with growing my business outside of just here. I would say that's always the biggest challenge for anybody in a sales job is finding people. But I think you also have to think outside the box and get yourself from your competition. Doing things like that helps expanding your business outside of where you work. But also, I think networking is a big factor, like having other professionals refer business to you. That already creates that trust factor because somebody's referring you to this person.
Gotcha. Lorena, I really wanted to ask you for 2023, what are your big plans for the business? What kind of initiatives do you have going on this year?
For this year, our main goal is to help 1,000 people with their financial protection, right? Whether that's life insurance or health insurance or something in between, right? So I think that's our main goal, is to really make a big impact on 1,000 new people that we haven't met yet.
That's an amazing goal. I hope you reach it. Very cool.
Thank you.
Now, we talk a lot about financial freedom on this show. I was just wondering if you could tell us, what does financial freedom look like to you? So many people get an idea that it's like this dollar number that you have to hit, but really financial freedom is about creating the lifestyle you desire. So if you were totally financially free right now, what would that life look like for you?
Sure. So I think I'm very lucky because I've already reached my personal definition of financial freedom, which is being able to manage my time, where I'm not stuck at a 9 to 5 job or having to ask somebody for time off, right? So I'm pretty lucky in that I can already do that and not have to worry about, if I don't work today, where's the money going to come from? So I think for me, it's really developing a new definition of financial freedom. And I think it's more about right now, like investing more, finding more vehicles to invest and create other streams of income.
Very cool. And what do you like to invest in?
That's something I'm researching on right now because the way the stock market right now, it's not very, well, I would say. So honestly, for me, since I am in life insurance, I am going to do life insurance with the cash value rights for the future because that has certain guarantees. Like if the stock market totally fails, I just get no interest that year. I rather do that than get negative returns. But I'm also looking outside of that, maybe into real estate which they always say is good to invest.
Now, I know that you help a lot of other people plan with their finances. Do you have a written financial plan of your own?
No, like a certain budget, you mean, or what do you mean by a financial
No,
plan?
like a plan to create financial freedom, as in like where you're taking money from every month and where you're putting it to invest, that sort of thing.
Oh, I don't have it actually written down per se, but in my mind, yeah, I know where that would be coming from.
Okay, very cool. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience today?
I would say the most important thing is to make an informed decision and always reach out to a professional about what you're thinking of doing, because often I see people making important decisions based on their friend or their family or something they heard on the news, but that's not a good way of making an informed decision. Always reach out to people that this is what they talk about all day, every day, like I say.
It's very interesting the different ways people decide how to invest their money. And most of it is not going through a financial advisor.
Yes, I ran into people like that as well. I guess it all depends too, like what level you're in, because maybe a financial advisor only takes certain people with certain investable assets and so forth, right? So that all depends.
All right, awesome. Lorena, this has been absolutely amazing. Thanks for joining me today. You've shared so many valuable tips and insights for my listeners. Really happy you were able to take the time out of your day and to jump on and to share your value that you have with the listeners. It's been such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much, Chris. I hope I shared all information with everyone here.
Yeah, thanks again. Now, if anybody's looking to connect with you, Lorena, what's the best way to do that?
Sure. So the best way is to send me a text directly at 786-244-7079, and then we can go from there. They can also follow me on social media. They can look for MALMINS22, and you can find me on Facebook, Instagram. I also have a TikTok, which is under my personal name.
All right. If you're listening out there and enjoyed, please subscribe to the podcast. And if you're a six-figure online entrepreneur and want to come on just like our amazing guest Lorena did today and talk about yourself and your business for our listeners, we'd love that.
You can go to pyfpodcast.com. That's the letters pyfpodcast.com and apply.
We'd love to have you on as well. Awesome. Thanks again, Lorena.
Thank you.
If you've listened this far, chances are you're an entrepreneur looking to become more financially literate and create financial freedom for yourself from your business.
The Pay Yourself First podcast
is definitely here to help with that. My goal is to continue to share what I've learned about using your business as the tool to create financial freedom. But let's face it, it would take me years to share with you everything you need to know via these episodes. Creating financial freedom is something that most people never even consider, let alone make a plan for or take action towards. It's something almost no one was taught anything about. Doing it as an entrepreneur is even more challenging, especially without support. So if you're ready to get clear on what financial freedom looks like for you, come up with an action plan, and get the support systems and accountability you need, I invite you to consider the Abundantly Infinite Entrepreneur. I created the program to help entrepreneurs just like you get a handle on their personal and business finances and start building confidently towards financial freedom. And it's how you can discover ways to take 10 years off your retirement, add an extra 5 or 6 figures to your portfolio, and finally get clear on what numbers you should be tracking in your business and why. Together, we'll gain clarity around your financial goals and what being financially free would actually look like for you. Then we'll put together a customized game plan to get you there and the accountability to see you through. And by the way, you're also going to get all the spreadsheets you need to run your numbers, lifetime access to the materials, including any updates, and entry into our members-only community. In addition to all the knowledge, coaching, community, and systems that you need to create financial freedom from your business, you'll also receive a free financial assessment, a retirement planning session, and guided meditation aimed at helping you embody the feeling of true financial freedom. So yeah, you can just listen to the free content on these podcasts to help you move towards becoming a financially free entrepreneur. And sure, you'll likely see some results, or you can make the decision to commit to learning, implementing, and embodying what you need to know to create the financially free life you dreamed of when you started your business journey. Click the link in the show notes to answer a quick questionnaire, and you'll be on your way to joining the Abundantly Infinite Entrepreneur.